welcome to the APTA's first Grand Prix event of the season, the Lake Invitational, sponsored by the APTA national sponsors Viking and Uline. We are live from the Indian Trail Club in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, on the APTA network presented by ENAT Live. I'm Jerry Vian, along with Matt Garriavaglia, and we have a guest announcer who just came off the court.
Jeff Morneau.
Jeff Morneau is here. He's going to give us some insight into the match. And we're about to see the finals between the number 2 seeds, Czerwinski and Graham McNerney. And they are facing the number 1 seeds, John Hughes and Mark Powers. And you see the Czerwinski is the rackets professional in Chicago, and Graham McNerney is a consulting for an accountant firm, which is very fitting for this team because he is definitely a stats man, and we'll talk a little bit about that. John Hughes from Connecticut, Mark Powers is from New York, and interestingly enough, there's only one full-time rackets professional on the court. The other guys are at it behind the desk, but Matt, you want to? We should probably look at the keys to success,
yes,
Viking keys to success, and talk a little bit about Czerwinski McNerney.
Definitely, they have to stay mentally tough. I mean, they've had an easy road going into it, but they have to stay there the whole time. The mental tough. Hughes and Powers have been here, done that. And I don't even know if they've played, so.
There's no head-to-head on the APTA tour, so they're looking at them for the first time with ranking points.
Yeah, and I mean, they gotta stay down, hit their volleys. They have great hands, but they've got to they gotta take the barrage that Powers and Hughes gives to them, and stay with it. Play that middle, make the game. Somewhat both days. Slow it down enough. I know that Graham and Matic, if they could speed it up, they're the best at it. But at the same time, you're playing the other best team at it on the other side of you.
And interesting, they're hitting the overheads deep down the middle because you got a lefty-righty combination. But they're so good at climbing up the screens and trying to pound that shot. And for Hughes and Powers,
they're trying to find Czerwinski at the net a little bit more. I mean, McNerney will definitely hurt him more at the net when he gets right on there. Matic, phenomenal volleys, but he doesn't hurt you because he stays back a little bit. It's just the opposite. When they're at the net, they're gonna work McNerney over, make McNerney beat him from the baseline. Matic at any time can snap a forehand or a backhand. They have to stay active. They have to keep moving. They can't get lulled.
We're just going to bring in our umpire. Mark Bliss is making the announcement for the match. We have
the men's final in the Elite 16.
I think it's over 500 people.
Featuring on my left in the deuce court from Chicago, USA, Marek Czerwinski. His partner, also from Chicago, Graham McNerney. On my right, in the ad court, from New York City, Mark Powers. In the deuce court, the big lefty from Enfield, Connecticut, John Hughes. Czerwinski, McNerney won the spin, elected to receive. The match is the best 2 out of 3 tie-break sets. The 7-game ball rotation is in effect.
All right, so why don't we introduce the players on the court?
So you have Marek Czerwinski. He's the teaching pro down at Awincia Club. He's on the bottom right on the deuce side serving right now. Graham McNerney, he is new to Chicago over the last 2 years. Played big time tennis growing up. As you said, he's the color coordinator now for Jerry and all of the stuff and all of her new charts. He's also playing out in Chicago for the last 2 years. On the far deuce side, you have John Hughes. Big forehand, lefty spins, got everything. He's got to stay that active because Sometimes he gets into a lull, but other than that, the top, big spins, who can do it all. And back now on the right is Mark Powers, the, Mr. Can do everything. Small little guy that can just bring it whenever he wants.
And we just they came off of a 3-set semifinal with you, Jeff. So,
Yeah.
see anything in particular?
Yeah, our match was a barn burner. I do know that Mark Powers is not feeling great. He's got a little bit of an arm injury, as you'll maybe see on the live screen. So hopefully everything's going to be okay. He's got some KT tape on there. But they have so many options because they have the lefty-righty combo. So as good as Mark Powers' overhead is, if he has any minor injury, John Hughes is going to be able to take all the overheads, and I think they're going to figure it out.
Excuse me, Jeff. You can see the setup here at the Indian Trail Club. I mean, we have to give them a shout out. This facility just lends itself to a phenomenal. We have a couple of tournaments going on at the same time. So they have 10 courts. You can see the crowd there. There's a big crowd behind us. They've got the tent, they've got the appetizers, they've got the beer and wine flowing, and it's really a lifestyle here that they just embrace paddle. There's 24 teams that play in the leagues during the week. Mike Gillespie is the director of platform tennis here, and he, along with Anna Brazova, who's the head pro, who is the champion of the first Lake Grand Prix tournament here at Lake Invitational, and you can see they're passionate about the game, and they've come out to support the event, and we couldn't ask for better weather. Temperature has dropped a little bit. The sun won't be an issue for
yeah,
either
no
team.
sun. Right now it's a really good temperature. I would say earlier in the day it was a little warm for paddle, quite frankly, but now it's getting a little cooler at night. There's no sun as a factor. There's an unbelievable crowd here, and when we were playing, it was great. You heard people clapping and cheering, good shots, rooting for teams. It's just, it's fun to be on the court playing when you have a fan base like this watching.
Feels like nationals to me. It's electric. You can feel the energy.
It definitely is. And you said the other draws are playing, so you have players, you have the ladies from yesterday, and they're all here rooting on. So it's a great atmosphere. Way to start the year off.
So this is the final of the men's premier event, where there had 16 teams in the draw, and we also had the men's open event, and we'll talk a little bit about that now. John Hughes is serving. He's the lefty. So here's the strategy right away, keeping the ball away from Czerwinski's forehand. Hughes and Powers will make that switch at net, putting the overheads, the forehands in the middle.
Czerwinski and McNerney, they love to play that transition game too. I mean, they will love to lull them into a half volley and then blitz, and taking, anytime Czerwinski can drive a ball, you're going to see McNerney all over that net.
He's got great hands, McNerney.
Uncharacteristic mistake there by John Hughes.
Oh, that's a heavy, heavy forehand from Czerwinski.
It's probably going to take a little bit for, I think, Mark and John to get kind of into this match. I know it's the final and they should be, but coming off of a long match and just getting out there, sometimes it takes a little bit to get going and mentally into it.
And let's not forget that they were down 2 match points in their first round match today. Serving, Powers was serving at 15-40, 5-6, I believe.
Yes.
So they, they really have been tested McNerney and Czerwinski had a relatively low-scoring semi-final. I believe it was one and love.
One in love. They had their, the first couple rounds. They kind of did their thing. They just played through. They had the dream draw, if you want to look at the time-wise on the court.
But I think you're right. I always think let players get through the first 4 games. Settle down, feel the ball. I mean, it's definitely not going to be flying as much earlier. Speed of play, the spins, and Jeff, you just was brutal out there. You kept them out there.
Well, I don't like losing. So
really?
we did.
I hadn't noticed that.
We did what we could. They were just a little better in that third set.
Oh.
Right on the line.
I think McNerney's going to have to be careful with that down-up overhead because Mark Powers on the left just loves to slide up the side and spike that.
30 love.
Think he can bounce it over his head?
I mean, he, as you know, he will try it, and both Powers and Hughes will definitely be testing him and hey, baiting him into it. John got Juan to finally bait Juan, and there's that forehand.
$30-15.
So that's Marek Czerwinski serving. And there's that transition we were talking about.
And that's the thing. A lot of times, these guys, early in the season, you'll see them do a transition and then miss an overhead because they feel like they have to keep pressure on them. But they play their way into the season a little bit, and they get a little tighter with some of their overheads.
As Hughes getting one of those athletic digs that, he just makes the toughest balls look easy.
He does. I mean, he's very athletic. He's in great shape. Plays really smart.
You were saying during your match, Jeff, the athletic ability of these guys, how great a shape all the players are in. It's, you look back and when people first started playing paddle years ago, and it's it's a fun game. We have this and we have that. And now it's the fitness is just amazing.
Yeah, that's changed a lot. As you know, I've been around for a while.
Right with you there.
And it's changed a lot now. These matches, there's so many talented rackets players playing that the points are lasting a long time. In warm weather like today, it's even worse in terms of the length of the points. And so the younger players and the players who are in better shape certainly have a big advantage.
And the actual physicality of the points, the explosiveness. They're loading up their legs, the extra spin that they're putting on it, the running down and getting the gets. It is just at a whole nother level.
It is. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
The game is getting better and growing.
But you still need that calm, normal behavior, that calm internal focus and belief.
It's the go, 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 slow, go, 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 slow.
Reset,
and
right?
You have to mentally be able to do that too, and that's the hard part. I think is when you're playing your third and fourth match of the day. It can be how many overheads have I hit?
Yeah, I think that's what I was talking about earlier about Mark and John getting into the match, is that physically they're fine because they're young and in great shape, but mentally they've been challenged all day. and Graham and Marek really haven't. So I think they either need to get down or the match needs to get, stay close so that mentally they can focus.
I love the way Powers holds that two-handed backhand off the screen, and then he can, last minute, go cross court, go down the line.
He even lobs off that, which is amazing because he just holds that and it throws it up down the line, and John knows who's ready for the next shot.
He sets his paddle so early, right? I mean, it's the motion when he picks his spot, he's just swinging forward.
But that's what we were saying. It's amazing watching Jeff and his in Juan's match, and their hands are so tight in and they're quick. They go through the ball when they drive, but yet at the same time, there's not these huge, large movements.
All right, so Czerwinski McNerney out to a 2-love lead. And I'm very happy that this final went on before the bedtime of 3 little guys that are home watching their dad play. A shout out to William, Asher, and Oliver. Czerwinskis. They love to watch their dad play on live stream. So I was afraid that it was going to be a little bit later in the night and that would be bedtime, but hoping they're up.
I'm sure they're watching their dad. They should be very proud. He's in the finals. He's a great player, great athlete, and great person.
Love 30.
We'll see how the match goes at the end, but right now they look pretty good.
Yeah, and remember, they won the first Grand Prix last year in Philadelphia, where they beat Orion Parsons after being down 1-3 in the third.
Yeah, they just look mentally and physically a little more in this match than Powers and Hughes right now.
They do have the benefit of Chicago paddle, I have to say. There's so many players, and they're starting earlier there because the leagues have started already, where a lot of the East Coast leagues are just starting right now. So, yeah, there's more tournaments out here for those, those guys to play, but that's not gonna get them going as quick, as fast as sometimes as getting 4 or 5 matches in a week.
Right. And I'm not sure if I mentioned Matt is the director of rackets at the Crest Hollow Country Club here in Long Island, but originally from Chicago, so he knows what he's talking about when he talks about Chicago teams and leagues and players, and you're very familiar.
Very familiar with it. And I said it's, when I first started playing out here, and it was, didn't really understand why some of these guys were like, what do you mean you're starting already? And, but they start early. There's their leagues, but but the tournament play out in the East is, definitely, a little more. Definitely have,
they almost ran into each other right there.
Game Czerwinski McNerney. They lead 3-0 first set.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Powers come over quite that far to take a ball that Hughes could have swung at as well.
Yeah. I mean, Powers got a much bigger forehand than John Hughes, but that's a long way to go to hit it.
I would just like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Fusion Sports, is your source for high-end custom and apparel. Fusion offers pro shop management, tournament favors, corporate branded gear, and youth sports. Fusion is an official supplier of apparel and the exclusive provider of tournament favors to the APTA, and you see all those snappy vests and players have got on. That's all coming from Fusion.
Yeah, Fusion makes great gear. All the players are wearing it. Great favors. They look good on and off the court.
There we go. Styling. All right. McNerney serving, and they are up 3-love in the first set.
Love 15.
Yeah, Hughes, this is a must-win game, I think, for Hughes and Powers if they want to have any chance in this first set.
So Hughes,
$15
they look a little flat-footed to me. Right, they need
We
to
were
get their
noticing that
energy up.
in the match with Jeff is in the second set they did get stopped doing the little step. They're kind of more of
15,
one
30.
step, two step, and then they got back into that at the beginning of the third. And it is a lot of little steps. I mean, talks about how tennis, it's a much bigger court. You run more, which is true, but you actually move a lot more on this court than you play
15,
tennis.
40.
So you saw McNerney get caught there midway. I mean, he hit that slash drop, but then bailed a little bit. You either got to commit and stay up or get off the court.
That's a ball
30,
John rarely
40.
misses. He had him back. Mark
Game
reached out his
Hughes,
paddle.
Powers, Czerwinski, McNerney lead 3 games to 1. First set.
It's that little flinch, right? That's all it takes. You probably lost sight of the ball.
But that's what you were talking about earlier about the mental tough. I mean, you're up 3-0 and 10 seconds later at 3-1.
Right.
And those are the games you got to mentally just kind of buckle down and make them at least, play a few shots.
Mark is playing really fast for him.
Love 15.
It's not really their style to be going for shots like that.
You think it's a function of saving his arm? Or
I don't
just
know.
being caused by McNerney? Like, he loves to sneak in there and pick up the ball off that half volley.
Well, what's interesting is with their Viking keys to success, they wanted to hit to Graham in the backcourt, but that means that Mark has to hit the overheads. And if he's not feeling great, that means that Hughes is going to be hitting to Mark's big forehand and backhand.
Love 30.
It's true, and it's a big thing. And when you feel sometimes it is a little bit of pressure, and then you do press, and we've all done that press, but it's easy to hopefully for those guys to slow it down again, get back into it.
That's a better point for Hughes and Powers. Oh!
John Hughes never hits
15,
anybody.
30.
He's such a nice guy. He comes in on those blitzes, and then he sometimes loses points because he doesn't want to go right at the person and hit him. And Mark Powers sits back there and just shakes his head.
Trying to say Mark would not do that?
Mark would not do that.
But that was the point they need. They need to, listen, they make them play a few, even if you lose a point like that, but it's not 10 seconds.
$30.
Hughes serving 30-all. You're absolutely right, Jeff. That does set up for Powers to be hitting a lot of the overheads, which he probably doesn't want to be doing.
Yeah, and I'm watching him, and I haven't seen him take a full swing at any overhead yet. He's kind of hitting his overhead like a great shot.
Yeah.
I mean, the
30,
amazing,
40.
it's a great shot, but earlier in the point, Hughes makes a great get, and you're coming back, and it can get demoralizing when you all of a sudden you do all the right things and not win the point.
Let court serve.
Now you see the switch. at net. Oh,
Justin,
Game
That's
Czerwinski,
not like him.
McNerney. They lead 4-1 first set.
he's going for the banana. Oh, there's the
There it
hit.
is.
Oh,
right
that-
hip.
He's laughing. Okay. We're going to see it again to make sure that it's real. Oh, nice cut by Matic.
Yeah.
That's a shot that you're seeing more and more players hit over the years.
Yeah, it was,
It's a point-ending shot.
Dave Keevins was one of the first players to really attack the deuce court player, and he could hit that shot. And nobody knew what it was for the longest time, and a lot of players, Matic there, Juan does it very well. They can really carve that ball.
Yeah, I think nowadays the players are so good from the back, especially in warm weather, that if you're somebody who can finish a point at the net and hit a winner from the net, you have a huge advantage. And you see all the players coming up, men and women, that are getting a little better at that.
Yeah, we're talking, Jeff, I'm an admirer of your overhead, though, because, the main, most people that watching this, they're watching, they all love the cuts, and it's beautiful, and it's great, but it's not the majority of the players can do that. But you have an overhead that not almost anybody can attack, and talk a little bit for a second about how where you hit that overhead, because a lot of times the players don't, watching this are like, oh, what a cut. But then they don't realize that the overhead Mark's sitting right there is the overhead that sets that cut up.
Right.
Yeah, that's why Juan and I were so successful for a long period of time, and why we play well together, because he has that shot, and I just try to put it in the right spot, so they have to hit something back that's short, and basically in Juan's wheelhouse where he can just put the ball away. My partners, whoever I play with, they know that's all I can do, and I just try to do it well. So I try to find partners that can put it away at the net.
How about you played Baxter Murphy today? Murphy's a new player on the men's circuit out of Cincinnati.
Indianapolis.
Playing with Baxter from Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an unbelievable drop volley off of both wings from bullets, and he can drop it from an overhead. I mean,
he reminded me a little bit, actually a lot, of like Scott Kaler, who's got that same, plays really close to the net, and you drive it at him, and he's right there and just dinks it. And it's a great shot.
15-40.
Even Juan commented a number of times how good that guy was at the net. He was amazing. And it takes a lot for Juan to give somebody else more credit than himself at the net. So, as we know, Juan's one of the best volleyers in the game.
It's an exciting time. That team's going to be fun to watch get better.
And Baxter's been around a long time. He's got a lot of experience. Knows the game.
It's we were commentating, and Lauren and I were talking about how watching you guys and how Hughes and Powers, you can't tell them anything wrong, but they were playing off the net more, and it looked like you and Juan got a little more relaxed to drive, where you couldn't do that against Murphy. And it's different. You're not used to it. You have to lob on balls that you don't want to, and that's exactly, playing in different styles.
Here we go, 4-2. Or I should say 2-4.
15 love.
And there's the mental toughness. It's the long point. Then it's the easy shot that you don't think you're going to miss, and you just take your eye off for 2 seconds and just got to stay with it the whole time.
Double lead cord point.
30 love.
It's my favorite shot. What a great exchange. Boom, 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 boom.
40
Back
love.
and forth. I usually run for cover when that happens, Matt. What about you?
Yeah, no, the last time I won a volley exchange could have been the Chicago Nationals when Graham didn't even know what paddle was.
Say that's the part of Graham has really gotten a lot better over the last couple years and become one of the elite players in the country. He's really improved his volleys. He's gotten a lot more patient from the backcourt.
Well, now might be a good time to talk about his stats. He showed me his color-coded spreadsheet, which I love. It's got a breakdown of every player, their strengths, their weaknesses, and he says he kind of figures out the whole strategy and he shares it with Marek Czerwinski, his partner, and he kind of says, and Marek nods his head, but then just does his own thing. So it feels like it's more like a wave. He says it so he can hear it back. But Marek is, I don't want to know about 3 boards over and 5 things. He doesn't play like that. But it works. It's a good flow.
Yeah,
all right, so Hughes and Powers.
Right back in this match.
As we talked about, it took him a little bit to get into it, and now we got ourselves a first set.
Yep.
We'll see if they let too many games get away from them in the beginning or whether they can come back here.
It's just the opposite too, where Graham and Marek the last, since when they got up 4-1, they got played a little looser, and that's good, but the other team tightens up just enough.
And I'll tell you, the crowd keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
They're just loving it here. The members, people who have come out from everywhere to watch. What's better than this? They're able to be outside because the weather's so great. There's great food, desserts, drinks, and great paddle. So.
You can see behind us is a big lake. They've got tennis courts, they've got softball field, the pickleball, basketball courts. This is it. Bergen County, was that Letcord?
Love 15. Love 30.
Looks a little more inspired.
The 4-1 game when Czerwinski and McNerney, they basically kind of didn't give it to him, but they played a little loose. It gave them life.
Yeah,
40.
The 3-0 game, if they had gone up 4-0, it's a completely different story than.
That is trouble. Hitting that bigger serve coming off the back screen with Powers with his backhand moving forward. It's tough to keep that volley in.
Now it's the time to see if the first time they've been tested this year at 4-4, if they can right their ship, or if they
Looks like they're playing everything down the middle right now.
Yep. Just the mental discipline of being willing to stay in it, wait for the right opportunity. Doing a great job of not letting Marek Czerwinski see a forehand. Up, and that's what happens.
There's a reason
He's
you
gonna
don't hit it over
pounce.
there.
There is. There's something about strategy.
You try to sneak one in there, and boom.
It wasn't that bad of an overhead. It's, you know, it's just that's how quick these guys are, and
That was bold.
15 all.
That get ball. I mean, we're in transition like that. He's going on a blitz, and that ball gets volleyed straight down at your feet. Let it go through.
Oh, what a serve. Perfect spot.
30, 15.
Nice deep lobs from Czerwinski, McNerney.
There it was.
40, 15.
Probably not the one to swing at, but when your forehand's that good,
that's the thing with Czerwinski is he's
40,
very
30.
good not only at hitting that shot, but he's good at if he misses it, he throws it. Oh well, I'll go for it again.
Game
what a
Hughes,
overhead
Powers.
by
Wow.
Hughes.
Yeah, I mean,
Ball was in.
The lefty attacking the ad court player.
They
is
lead
something
5
that,
games to
yeah,
4.
a few
First
years
set.
ago, we started a little bit more, and it's when you're in the ad, you're not used to seeing a lefty come at you.
Yeah, you hit like 5, 6. I don't even know how many.
5,
Right
4.
down the middle over to Marek, and then just snuck a slammer right at Marek. I mean, right at Graham McNerney.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's you're not used to it. You're not, it's out of the box in a way. It's not your normal thinking. I'm playing the ad court. I have a lefty who with so much spin. Why is he coming to me all of a sudden?
What is this? I know it's paddle, but like, why does this seem so competitive?
15 love.
It's a national tournament. It's a national tournament. Best players in the country.
It's that third panel slam. Czerwinski's creating movement.
You know, things are getting a little tighter here now. Everyone seems to be very focused. 5-4. Sets in jeopardy. Points are going to get longer.
15
Slow.
all.
I mean, we talked about it earlier. You know, you know, Czerwinski and McNerney didn't have any, close matches, big points they had to get through, and it is, as much as people think, oh look, wow, Hughes Powers had to play way more paddle getting into the final. They also had to face adversity already this tournament.
Look at that. What a get, what a volley.
Whoa.
30-15.
So with all of this transition play, you really have to know where your partner is, who's going to cover. You can see them, getting in the middle of the court, letting balls go through. That court awareness and your partner awareness is so important. Otherwise, it can quickly turn into bump cars, right?
But their paddles are so steady. They're not flailing around. Even when they're hitting cut overheads, they're not, these big, huge swings.
It's a great angle, shows his athleticism. I mean, Hughes really likes to get
40-15.
down low, and he's a big guy.
Yeah, he's got to be, what, 6'2"?
And we've seen him just get so many amazing gets from impossible positions. He could probably have his own highlight reel. See how low he gets his paddle, and he lets that ball come down to the paddle. Oh, McNerney's off the net.
40-30.
Yeah, that's unlike Graham McNerney. He's usually right on top of it. He wasn't happy with himself, I think.
No.
After a little yell there.
No, not one bit.
You don't want to be volleying up. You want to be close to the net.
Oh,
Game Czerwinski, McNerney. Games are 5 all. First set.
We're going to replay of Hughes. Look
What a
how he
get.
goes off the court.
oh.
Yeah, he caught, Powers, was up the side on the deuce side there.
The court coverage they have, and
There it is. Look at that.
yeah.
Oh, there's his move. He climbs up that side screen, looks for that lefty spike. You see Powell's going to do the same thing. Oh!
Oh, what a point.
This is a lot of transition play here. All 4 players. It's
There's
your
the
repeat.
spike.
Tried it.
That's why Hughes and Powers do so well. And this is you both
15 love.
spoke about it early in the match. When their feet are going, when they're athletic and they're controlling that transition play, it's just a matter of time before one of those shots appears.
That's the one overhead you don't see them hit a lot. Once in a while, you'll see
30
John, spike one down, and Powers maybe, but barely. A lot of them try to go over those guys. It seems like more than anybody else. They don't hit that. They hit out.
40 love.
Okay, 5-all, 40 love.
after
Game
that
Hughes
transition
Powers, they
point,
lead
that was
6 games to
amazing. What
5,
happens?
first set.
Next 3 points. You know, and that's where the, you know, early season, you know, as we were talking earlier, you know, they're playing a lot of Chicago paddle. They're playing a lot of good players. But, you know, but it's where you can get away with, oh, you lose a set.
6-5, right? Yeah, 6-5.
But it is definitely the, you know, you have a great point like that. You have a great point like that, and next thing you know, they're 10 seconds later, 3 points later, it's game.
So Matt, going on court 2, you can just see it behind us. We've got the final of the men's open. So this is the new format we talked about. We have the men's premier final where the top 16 teams are playing in this final. At the same time, we have the men's open where the top 32 teams are playing. And you want to tell us who's out? Actually, they left the court, but you can, that's the final.
So
is
it's
Chris Humphreys.
No. We'll go back to that in a minute when they get there.
Okay,
Watch.
yep. We'll give them their shout out at the end
Yeah,
of this
course.
set. You see McNerney hit that overhead and then elected to stay back. He was so far out of the service box so that he avoided a big forehand at his feet. He did tell me before the match that bailing will be a big thing.
It seemed like, you know, the first few games, everything they did, you know, turned to gold. Every volley they hit, everything. And then all of a sudden, you know, the momentum shifted a little bit. Hughes and Powers, all of a sudden, you know, they start making that transition volley. And then McNerney kept trying to force it, and hitting it, going back. Save your life, go back. You
Right.
know, get ready for the next shot.
Okay, McNerney serving. And it's been all Hughes and Powers. They've just dialed it up a notch. You felt them getting more and more comfortable.
You're right. We talked about the keys earlier, the transition, and it would seem that changed. And when that changed, then all of a sudden the match has changed.
Love 40.
Set points on the paddle. Hughes and Powers.
$15.40.
Czerwinski forehand at play.
It's got a lot of spin on it as well. So,
Oh.
Not only is it heavy and hard, it's got spin. So you see players that'll hit a heavy ball with not a lot of spin, or a lot of spin and not. He's got both.
Hughes has got that lefty roll overhead. Willing to hit the overheads down the middle of the court. Oh.
30-40.
Interesting. I looked like Powers was looking to cut to hit a drop shot, and then
The
he
ball
pulled
just
away.
kept drifting away. But it
2 set points saved. Back to
Deuce.
deuce.
one of the things you learn is, it's so different than tennis. It's even though the scoring's the same, you get that, you get that. Hey, it's every game starts at love, and you got to win 4 points in a game. It just feels like in platform that it's you grind and grind, and you win that point, but next thing you know, it's like not the
Advantage,
game as much as it is in
McNerney.
tennis.
Phenomenal overhead cut there. McNerney got it to bite the side screen and drop like a rock on the back. Hughes is doing a great job of keeping that ball deep. McNerney slid over and Czerwinski slid over and got a look at a forehand. And
Game Czerwinski, McNerney.
what was that?
6
Love
all
40?
tiebreaker.
It was love 40, and then the great the great overhead that John hit, in at 40-15, and great stab, and then almost like a that down the line shot that Powers tried to come get, and he just couldn't get to it, and next thing you know, it's breaker.
All right, tie break, and
1-0,
Hughes
Czerwinski, McNerney.
dumps a serve in the neck on that first point. Really just needs to take a moment and regroup here. They started a little bit slow, got into the rhythm of it, right? Got ahead. Czerwinski and McNerney are now back with the momentum.
That's what you need to do. You need to get, you need to get McNerney to come up with a chart, with a momentum chart. He's going to be very good at the momentum chart of his has got to be out of the.
Monik Czerwinski serving. Catches the neck.
Catches the
2-0,
line, catches the
Czerwinski,
neck.
McNerney.
That's the thing about momentum, right? Then you can start getting the let cord, the breaks go your way.
You can tell himself
2-1, Czerwinski, McNerney.
Because even if he makes the shot, John's right there. Hughes is going to probably
deuce
stuff
court,
the
boys.
volley back. And that's something that, Wednesday night you do 100 times and you make it, 99, and you win some, lose some. But, it's in a final of a, Grand Prix, it's got to go up.
Nice angle there, McNerney's overhead. Really has a lot of bite on it. See how it jumps off the back screen. Good combination.
3-1, Czerwinski, McNerney.
His spin overheads are very impressive. Ooh, I'm playing with fire there, giving Czerwinski a forehand drive. Czerwinski comes up with a
4-1,
backhand
Czerwinski,
drive. Short ball in the
McNerney.
middle. We're like, he's going to hurt you from the back court. Keep it away from Czerwinski off the deck.
Czerwinski goes from the exact opposite. More no, he wants one hand on one side, one hand on the other. And he can snap it, hit it, roll it, push it. It's pretty impressive to watch.
So McNerney's serving up 4-1 in the tiebreak. Here we see another Couple of combination overheads from McNerney.
There's that high lob.
5-1.
Jeff was saying McNerney's really added a lot more spin and variety to his overheads, and we just saw like a 3 or 4 in a row where he really loads up his legs and bites that ball hard. It hit the back screen and jumped over to the side screen. And
Well, he's got an unbelievable overhead. He really opens up that paddle at the net and like that, and puts
Yeah.
just a ton of spin on it.
oh,
He's obviously feeling very confident to go for that.
5-2. Czerwinski
well, he
McNerney.
has
Laughing.
loosened up. He's probably hit 20 overheads in the last few points, and he's definitely loose.
Yeah, I mean, early on, not in this match, but in his career, that's what he was doing all the time. He was just hitting that and hitting that and hitting that. But Jerry, as you know, when you mix it up, it just adds so much more variety to his game, and people don't know sort of what's coming.
Right. You're just trying to make your opponents uncomfortable and not get into a rhythm. And when you hit the same shot over and over, they start to read it and feel balanced. But he's added the variety to it. You see that little dump.
Oh, Mark Powers likes that one normally.
6-2. Czerwinski McNerney.
But as
And they
you're
got a
s-
bunch of set points.
You were saying, though, Jeff, about how he was doing it early and then he's learned. And I think
Fault.
Oh, man. That's
Game and
That's
first
a
set.
tough-
Czerwinski McNerney. 7
Yeah.
games to 6.
Two
That's a
faults in the
2
breaker
minutes.
for
Yeah,
Mr.
2 minutes,
Hughes. Very
If it take longer, we
uncharacteristic.
know what's wrong with it.
yeah. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Oh, no, can we go back over to court 2 for a minute? Let's just show
Sure.
and talk about that because we got cut off before. So over on our second court is the finals of our men's open tournament.
So we have Chris Humphreys from Stamford, Connecticut, and Jeremy Court from Larchmont. They were, I don't think they were seeded. I think they pulled off a little upset, taking out Mike Stulak in the semifinals. And they're playing.
I think
Is
it's
it
Chris Chu
Chris-
and Andrew Orban from Washington, D.C.
Ah,
So with this new format, the top 9 in the men's open qualify for the Nationals, which is at the Country Club of Darien in March. So good to see these guys competing, and this new format is really gonna, I think, change.
Yeah, well, I've played this Chris Humphreys twice, the lefty and the forehand court. I played him in a league match in the summer. It was hot. First time I played him, he was new to the game. So, of course, you think, oh, he can't be that good. Well, he was. A great player. For somebody who hasn't been playing that long, he makes great mental decisions. He doesn't do anything stupid. He's got a big lefty serve. I think he's somebody that everybody should be watching going forward.
So didn't he play the Patterson Open with Mike Cochran? Or was it, no, not the Patterson Open, it was
Yeah,
the
he played
play- it
Patterson.
was?
No, he played the league match, and Martin Bostrom and I actually played against them, and it was like all my matches, it's like a 3-hour barn burner, and the only person who was left standing was Humphreys, because I think he's like, 22 or something. It was 85 degrees, and Martin and I thought, oh, this is going to be not a cakewalk, but somebody we'd be able to pick on, and he'd make dumb shots, but he didn't. He played great. So the next time I played him in Patterson, he was playing with the partner he has now, and I was playing with Mick, and so we knew, I knew a little more about what was coming. We were able to pull it out, but they played a great match. He's really competitive. He's into it. He wants to be, the next great player.
yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about this.
You're over here.
Call him a
There's
kid
one.
almost. From some of the guys that go up and play in the leagues, and is Humphreys. And his partner I've seen play a bunch of times. Actually, his partner started playing tournaments when he was in the juniors in German court. I remember watching those guys when they were 19 and 20 playing in some of the tournaments, and they take their lumps, but they wanted to learn. They wanted to be the next, they want to be up there, and they're itching to get up there and play. And that's this great about this format is, they get to play a lot of matches, and they get to come in, and their goal is to be, hey, nothing against the Open. They want to try to get to play with the big boys, and that's what's great about this is they get to show off their talents and get ready to they take the next step forward.
We'll watch them like we have watched Hughes and Power's career. I mean, where the turning point for them was that Long Island, where they took you guys out for the first time.
That's right.
And they didn't lose another match throughout the rest of the season and ended up winning the national. So it's fun to watch the new players come into the game. And all right, Czerwinski's going to serve. So, guys, it was kind of a little up and down there at the end of that first set.
Roller coaster.
So
Yeah.
Hughes and Powers looked a little flat again towards the end.
That love 40 to game just kind of it deflated them for the when they got back into the
15 love
tiebreaker. But yeah, you don't necessarily eventually love 40. You're thinking, okay, I got this, and then next thing you know, it's like, uh-oh.
Mark Powers doing a Wanaraya, looking at his paddle, as though it was the paddle's fault that he missed that lob.
He's also rotating his wrist, as you had said before, where he's having a little bit of a problem with his arm, and he's starting to rotate his wrist.
Yeah, you can see him holding it.
So Czerwinski, McNerney mentally really need to stay tight here in this early part of the second set.
Oh, what a get by Hughes, and then he tags Czerwinski. John has 2 tags in this match that I've seen, and he usually goes a whole tournament without hitting a single person.
Oh, see that ball move off the court.
Oh, what a shot by McNerney.
That's true.
Yeah, so Hughes and Powers to me look a little flat, a little lethargic. They need to pump up that energy, and Czerwinski and McNerney look totally psyched.
Yep, that sort of was the beginning of the match as well.
I'm just going to give a shout out to Clark Trophies by Max Leprevere. Clark Trophies is your #1 destination for all trophies, favors, and prizes. Clark Trophies, better quality, faster service. We're going to have a chat to Max when we get to Chicago Charities, our next tour stop on the APTA Grand Prix Tour.
Yeah, that's great. Great little business for Max Leprevere, guy I've played with a bunch, and it's good to see the players giving back also to the APTA. You got Uline, who obviously has been great for years and years to the APTA and platform tennis, and now people like Max, who have businesses on the side, are supporting the APTA and platform tennis. It's great.
We're very happy to have such loyal sponsors. Allows us to do all this live streaming.
Yeah.
And all the other initiatives the APTA is doing. Oh, McNerney's not known for his big forehand, but he found the hole there.
Love 30.
I think they were surprised that he went for one. They both looked at each other and went through, and
now, what do you think that does for McNerney's confidence?
well, if I'm Powers and Hughes, I think they're probably hoping he goes for more forehands.
You have to say, you get that old additive. Sometimes you want him to make one. Try it again and again.
But you know McNerney knows the percentage of himself making that shot, so.
He understands it on paper, but he's got to understand it during the match.
That's very true. So Hughes is really picking those handful of boards right in there with his placement of his overheads. He's so accurate.
McNerney made another one.
That's
right
true.
for the middle.
Can you remind him of that at the end of the match?
My guess is he's going to watch this match about 10 times, take all the statistics, and find a way to make himself better.
Yeah, he's a true student of the game.
It's an interesting
That was
choice
interesting.
of shot.
15-30.
You've played with somebody that might have tried it once or twice. I mean, what do you...
Yeah, I usually just turn around, grab the ball, and serve it again.
What do you think about it? It's 1-0, and that's 1-0, 30 love 30 at the time, and
30-40.
it's like, why? It's easy to say from here, but it's like, why?
Hughes is pressing a little bit, swinging at that ball. He's moving backwards.
Well, John Hughes running all the way to the other side of the court. I thought he was going to stay over there and play 3-on-1 against Mark Powers. Oh, what a great shot by Graham McNerney.
Again, it's a heavy cut on his overhead. It just
They
stays
lead 2
so
games
deep,
to love,
so
second
low
set.
in the screen. And I think Hughes is having fun jogging around the court.
I don't know how he does it. And he can go all day, like the Energizer Bunny. Mark Powers does not seem to be right.
Love.
Yeah.
Seems to be a little out of it mentally and physically. I like this by John Hughes, giving him a little fist bump.
Yep. He's starting to miss.
30 love.
So Jeff, you're always such a great partner. I know you've played with a lot of different players, and one of the big things is you are so even-keeled and so supportive no matter what. I've seen you in a lot of situations where your calmness and your composure and your ability to be a
40
team
love.
player first has pulled through for a lot.
Well, thanks, Jerry. That means a lot. That means a lot. I enjoy playing. I like to compete. And listen, I just think when you're out there, you're a team. And You know, when your
Game
partner's
Czerwinski,
down or not
McNerney,
playing
they
that
lead
well,
3 games
you know,
to
you can
love.
slow things
Second set.
down. Just talk to him about
Czerwinski,
something else.
McNerney won
Try
the
to
first set, 7 games
reset
to
his or
6.
her mind, whatever the case may be. You know, and when I'm not playing that great, I would hope my partner does the same thing. I try to just play my own game, but I think to be a good partner, you got to be able to, you know, talk on the changeovers. Let me look at Hughes and Powers right now. They're down 3-0. They're not playing that well. Marek's Czerwinski is heading off to get some water, but I mean, they're really dominating the play in this set, so you know, it'd be good if they could find a way to slow things down.
But your ability to recognize what's happening momentum-wise, strategically-wise, as it's happening, as opposed to in the car on the way home, you recognize it and you articulate it and you sense it, and you've done it. We've watched you do it with a multitude of partners, and it's a special talent, and it's a big part of your success as a team. And you know, all these players could learn a lot from that commitment to being a team player and just learning, you know, what your role is and your ability to change roles based on what your team needs. And the high five or the step into my office and look at my eyes or whatever it requires, you have been able to do. And you're right, Hughes and Powers, they need a little bit of a pep talk here.
They were here last set. I mean, it's, again, we're, you know, you'll find out now, really also I think more about Czerwinski and McNerney is, you know, they were up 3-0 last set in 4-1, then down 5-4 or something, but.
And then you have that shot.
I mean, they're dominating the set, and there's no need for do that. Mark Powers isn't physically or mentally at his best right now, and there was no need for Graham to do that, but I guess to a certain extent it shows a level of confidence that he's having.
I mean, that's the thing too, is you feel like you just gotta, you know, you've been told, especially if you're a competitive tennis player, you know, put your foot on the pedal when you get them down. And in this sport, sometimes the more you try to push it down, the more it resists, the more it comes back at you. And then, of course, if you say, well, I don't want to miss, I just want to play slow, and you start losing that way, and you're like, well, this is, as we said, the momentum. It's a roller coaster. It goes up, down.
I mean, you see Mark Powers, he just doesn't hit that overhead. I mean, I know he can, but you're not seeing any big swings out of him. He's hitting overheads like me. He's just pushing them. And
well, you know what? Coach Kaufman would be happy to see this. He wants to see them hit a few more push overheads. I'm sure he doesn't want to see him injured, but you're right. I can't remember seeing Mark Powers hit so many push overheads like that. And you see him in the backcourt too, was holding his arm again, and he was trying to stretch out that forearm.
I did talk to him for a few, just to kind of, you know, to ask a little bit, and he was saying that it is, you know, it's his forearm, and there's times it loosens, and then there's times he goes to hit, and it's a 10. So just, I mean, having, you know, on your right arm, hitting everything you can with that shot all the time, it's got to be mentally fatiguing too, though. Oh.
Nice move by McNerney, and the smart to go right back at Hughes, who was down on the court. But we've seen Hughes dive like that.
It's amazing.
Quite a few times.
To dive on the paddle court with the grit on the ground, and you know, that just shows his level of competitiveness, his desire.
Score is 30-40.
Update on the men's open over on court 2. So court Humphreys is up 5-2 in the first set.
It's one of the first balls I've seen Mark Powers really take a crack at.
And you know, they were saying earlier, Jeff, there's a big difference between 3-1 and 4-0. Even though it got the 4-1 last time, it's a big difference up at 4-0. And that was a point to go 4-0.
He's got so much spin on that ball.
Advantage.
He hit it off of
Czerwinski,
both
McNerney.
sides.
He's always had that from right when he started. He had so much spin. And now he's just using it a lot more effectively than he used to.
And a chance to go up 5-love in this second set.
Game Czerwinski,
At 4.
McNerney. They lead 4 games to love. Second set.
That
That's-
4-0 is going to be really tough at this point. I think John Hughes needs to try to find a way on that side to do something to dominate, even if at this point getting some big swings out of Marek and praying that he misses some.
Love 15.
Very similar shot.
Mhm. But that's the thing with McNerney is he'll give you that, and you just hope that for their sake that they don't do the 4 in a row like they did 3 straight games in the first set.
15 all.
Marek Czerwinski serving.
15-30.
That also looked like one of my serves. Slow.
It was going to be well placed, though.
You're going to get to the net fast.
Well placed, so
I think he missed another one.
it looked awfully close,
It
didn't it?
looked long to me, but
But you're tired.
I'm
It's
tired.
also,
No, I agree
it's
with you.
also
I-
good to know, though, for
30
people
all.
watching, we might have saw it long, even the umpire might have saw it long, but it's not his call.
Right.
And a lot of times, people think that, there's an ump there. So why doesn't he call it? He's just there to overrule or to, make corrections and just keep scores.
And if the players do ask the umpire for a ruling, it stands.
Oh,
That's the one he was, this is,
40-30.
normally Mark's, that two-handed backhand is money.
yeah, and I just took a look at him here because we can see him in the corner, and he just looks a little bit dejected right now, like he's. I mean, 4-0. It's not done, but
And I think he's going to
Game
really need
Czerwinski,
to, at the end of
McNerney.
this tournament,
They
rest
lead
that
5 games
arm
to
and
love.
whatever
Second set.
kind of treatment he's doing, because clearly it is affecting him. He just
Yeah.
has been completely out of the sorts from.
yeah, it's not to take anything away from Graham and Marek.
Absolutely not,
They
yep.
absolutely hung in there. Mark and Hughes and Powers came back in that first set, and I think if Hughes and Powers had won the first set, it might be a little different mentally for Powers. He may have, thought about, I can grind this out a little bit more, but when you lose the first set, you're injured, you've already had 2 long matches. Mentally, you want to win, and you want to give it all you have, but it's very, very hard to do.
And your opponents aren't giving you anything.
No, and they did in the first set. They let them back in, gave them that breath of life, and now without the breath, it's harder.
And so while I fully expect, Hughes and Powers to keep trying and fight till the end, it's not going to be easy.
No.
Looked like a couple of casual moseys there, didn't it? It was like both
Half
those
volley
balls
from the
land in.
baseline.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you're hoping that the other team gifts you one like that, like that, or gifts you a game, and then you start
yes,
thinking
we've
maybe.
we've all seen the
You
5-0.
know, if it does make it to 5-2, I think you're going to see a little more energy out of Hughes and Powers.
All.
That was a great play, just missed it.
And that's the thing, is those are the shots that if they he makes majority of the time, and
30-15.
we're all watching like, how can you, it's the little pressure, the little movements.
Just long.
Yeah, it's
40,
hard to beat
15.
anybody 6-0, especially, the number 2 team in the country.
Huge, heavy
That
rip
was
by Martic.
40-30.
Oh,
Back court.
Oh,
nice move by McNerney, though. Just hit the top of the
Hughes,
net, but he
Powers.
really held that forehand and came in behind it.
Czerwinski,
Yeah.
McNerney lead 5-1.
David,
Second set.
you're right, Jeff. This is it's a big game. I mean, obviously it could be the tournament, but at 5-2, there could be the
yeah, there'll be
old-
hope. There'll be hope.
Big
Yeah.
cut.
I think it's going to be on
Love
Hughes
15.
if they're going to come back. I think he's got to be the one to just say, I'm going for everything. I'm going to try to get us back in this match. I'm not going to play conservative. I'm just going to do whatever I can to try to be the best player on the court for a long period of time.
then
15 all.
And it's
then,
hard but it's hard to calibrate that. When you all of a sudden you feel that you're the one who's really got to step it up. And
yeah, he's going for it, and you can't blame him. 5-1, he knows
Yeah.
his partner's not
30-15.
feeling great. There's nothing wrong with it. I know he wants to make it, but I think it's the right strategy.
oh,
40-15.
got match points on the paddle. Graham McNerney serving.
$40-30.
One saved. Big serve. And he catches
Ah.
goes off
Great
the
tournament.
net.
Congratulations,
2019.
Great
Game,
tournament.
set, match.
Lake Invitational.
7-6, 6-1. Czerwinski McNerney must like the first Grand Prix tournament of the
McNerney,
season. They've
7-6,
repeated what they did in Philly last year, and that's a very good tournament for them.
Great playing, guys.
Guys, closing thoughts on the match?
Yeah, unfortunately for Mark, Mr. Powers looks a little injured, and we'll get him back into good things. But they got to get that close. Was that kind of feeling, and great for Czerwinski and McNerney to learn how to really ride a ship of being up, next thing you know, being down, set points to come back to against one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's great to see. There was great paddle. Hughes and Powers will be fine. They're going to come through at the end of the year. They're going to be one of the top 2 to 4 teams for sure, as are Czerwinski and McNerney.
Yeah.
So it's early in the season. They'll look at everything. I'm sure they'll go back and look at the tape on this and try to figure each other's out, because they know they're going to see each other on the other side of the court in other Grand Prix and likely at Nationals. So it's a good start to the season. Great matches.
Fabulous match, a fabulous tournament. Again, a big thank you to the Indian Trail Club President Bevan Romaine, their General Manager Mike Asbill, Mike Gillespie, the Director of Platform Tennis, Anna Brazova, and the whole staff here at Indian Trail. They really have set a very high bar, and just the excitement that was generated by just having the membership here, and a very nice start to our season.
It's been tremendous. You can feel like the energy, as you said. It felt like a national.
Yeah, it did, right?
Yeah, it did.
It has that
really
nationals and that energy. What makes it better for the players? I've never got that. I've just been there, and it makes it help.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It really is. It's what makes it fun for the players. I mean, these guys could, Czerwinski and McNerney can get great matches in Chicago all day long, but they come all the way out here because of the great facility, the great environment, the people supporting and really appreciating their talents, and getting to put it on display for not just the people here, but the people on the live stream. They get to learn a little more about how to play paddle, and I can't think of a better way to start the season off. They did a great job.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, paddle is really, it's on a big upswing. We've got a lot of great new initiatives at the APTA. And our next tour stop, the APTA Grand Prix Tour, we go to Chicago early November. So we will be back on the live stream. And Matt, thank you for
pleasure,
jumping
Jerry.
in.
Thank you very
Mark
much.
Fischel is traveling the world somewhere, but we'll see him in Chicago. And as always, Jeff Bono, your thoughts and insights are so articulate, and you've been around the game for a long time, so I really value having your expertise and the passion of both you guys. I mean, it's really fun.
Well, thanks, Jerry, and thanks for all you do as well. It's always great seeing you, being with you, commentating a match. So looking forward to seeing you at all the other events.
All right, and shout out to the ENET crew. Guys, thank you very much. We hope everyone enjoyed the new camera angles that we're bringing to you. And that is a wrap, delivered by Uline.